Hello everyone and welcome to an Enshrouded build video. Today we are building the Alchemist's tower. I decided to put it into the back of the village. If you've been following along, you know exactly where this is. If not, remember to like and subscribe and have a look at the playlist of Enshrouded build videos. I'd love to know your thoughts, so leave them in the comments. After I cleared out the area of any trees that were in the way of where I wanted to build, I then had a look at a few different building blocks. This was the first time that I was going to build anything of this size, so I wanted to be sure that what I was using was right from the get-go. I wasn't sure of what I wanted it to look like yet. I wasn't even sure of the shape. So I just wanted to make sure that the blocks I used had the decoration and feeling that I wanted to bring for the Alchemist and his tower. Below the Alchemist, in the basement of the tower, is where the necromancer will live. So I decided that I would create a two-tone style tower to sort of symbolize the yin and yang that lived there. I began the base with the polished granite, and as soon as the space was cut out, I decided to give it a little bit more of a diamondy feel, because obviously it's very difficult, if even possible, to create a circle in Enshrouded. I say if possible because I've never been able to get it right. I decided that the first floor would be sort of an entranceway. The more neutral the floor, the better. So once I connected my stairs into this diamond shape, I went on to setting up the supports and the walls using both an inner and an outer layer. The outer layer being the polished granite and the inner layer being the highly polished stone. As I said before, the first floor of the building, or the ground floor rather, would just be an entranceway, so I decided to carve out these two doorway sections. I also decided I would not be putting doors inside of them to make it more of a enter freely type of feeling. Taking on a project like this was a very big test for myself. I have been practicing quite a lot with the village build, and doing something at this scale really put a lot of that practice into play. I had to do quite a few different little tricks in order to get it right. And even now that I say that, I feel like maybe there were more things I could have done. Although, even after the tavern, this has very quickly become my favorite build of the village so far. I decided to make the second floor walls the highly polished granite, so that between the third floor and the fourth floor eventually there would be enough contrast, creating not only a little bit of depth but a sense of feeling to the tower. This floor would be my living quarters, and the next floor would be the crafting area, which would comprise of not only all the crafting instruments but a library for my alchemist and his assistant. I decided to keep in these angles that were built from the bottom up. It was quite fun to play with something that wasn't just a direct straight line, I enjoyed building this very much. It made me think and calculate more than the other buildings have so far. There were a few things that I was able to apply from what I've learned so far, but also quite a lot that I myself learned new. I would actually advise people to experience building something of this scale, even if it's just as a learning experience. I wanted the study and crafting area to be their living area, and so it needed to have a cozy feeling to it. So I decided I was going to put in some wooden floors when it was all done. First, though, it needed to be walled off. Once I had finished the white parts of these walls, I decided that I would give the ceiling here a little bit of a higher feeling, because I was going to be putting in that extra flooring with the wood. This way it would give the upstairs that feeling of being bigger after passing through the second floor, which was noticeably a little bit smaller in feeling. I spent around, I want to say 3.5 hours on this build, although getting everything ready, like all the blocks and decorations, it was probably more around 4. I decided to plan out where I wanted my stairs going up to the final floor before putting in my wooden flooring. With the wooden flooring, I decided to do a makeshift banister so that the entrance into the study had its own feeling. I really took my time with this build. I didn't know what I wanted it to be in the end. I didn't even know what I wanted it to look like at the start. I just decided that this is what we needed to have for our alchemist. Picked my blocks and started building. That's what I would suggest for anyone who is wanting to learn how to build in the game and looking for ways even to improve. Pick your blocks, pick a project, and just build. Take your time and think through things. Once the flooring was complete, it was time to put in the last floor of the tower. While I was putting in the flooring, though, I decided that this would be an open area, sort of like a open viewpoint for the tower. I put in some support pillars, although they didn't stay, at least not all of them stayed to the end. And then I put in a little short wall that was also inset, I think 1 block down to make it a little bit shorter. I was definitely enjoying the feeling of not having to do a roof and play with roofing blocks, but The area just felt too open and bare. So it was time for our favorite, not so favorite part of building. The roofs. If you've been watching the series, you know that this is my least favorite part because I just cannot seem to get it right. But what I will say though is, all the practice I've had made this go quite quick once I found the right level. I decided to leave quite a bit of the roofing build in so that you can see some of the different techniques I use, such as putting blocks in some very weird places in the sky, just so that I can get the right view. I switch between first-person mode and third-person mode quite a lot when I'm doing the roofs. But eventually, it all comes together in the end. And actually, it looks pretty good. This one support pillar was a little too tall for the roof. I decided to extend it a bit, and I actually added in some of the new light blocks, almost like a lighthouse type of effect from far away. This shape of the tower got me really excited. I was not expecting it to come out the way that it did. A few small touches here and there, and some gaps that needed filling. And it was time to put in the windows. For the windows, I wanted to make use of the big walls that I had built. I started off in the study area and decided to create some almost diamond shape windows to keep the entire room lit. I picked some key places on the front of the tower, as well as one place on the back, so that the light would come through on either side, and if not from the sides, then there would be sufficient lighting on the inside to help. For the living space, I closed off each of the rooms that I wanted and decided on where I'd be putting the kitchen, and then I used a strange style for the windows that I think actually turned out pretty well done. Besides the stripe-shaped windows that were along quite a few of the walls, I also put in quite a large viewing window in the back of the tower, so that there would be a space that the backside light could fill in, and also a window that could let the alchemists or visitors have a look out over the shroud. Once the final window was in, I just needed one more look before going in and starting to place decorations, furniture, and the windows. I'm really happy with how it's turning out so far. I was not expecting this. There was 1 or 2 pieces of wood that still needed to be filled in, as well as a few pieces of wall in the corners that I had missed. But once that was all in, it was time. I started with the lighting, as usual. I was using the new silver braziers for the front, and then on the inside I used the steel lamps. For the windows I used the metal frames, but in the study I also used these green glass windows in combination with the steel frames. I really love the way that they came out, and the new controls of Update 5 just made it so much easier to be creative with these spaces that I'm really looking forward to when I get to do windows again. I wanted the study to feel very lived in and very used, but at the same time I needed to make sure that bedrooms and living areas were kitted out as if they too were living spaces. I think with this build I did the most decorating. There's quite a lot of items, especially in the study area. Up at the top I put a little seating area for a getaway space, and then back down into filling out what would be a little crafting area / library. The new banisters really came in and made the stairs look amazing. Decorating the tower was so much fun. As I've mentioned a few times before, this is one of my favorite parts of creating a building in Enshrouded, is decorating and making a place look alive, like the characters really live there. I really love the way my study came out. In fact, I love the entire tower. There's so many cool little things that I did, so many little bits and pieces that you would only notice if you're running through, granted, but just shows the freedom that we have when it comes to building and decorating, especially now in Update 5, the advanced placements. I had a lot of fun with this, and I am very excited for the Necromancer. That basement is going to be quite interesting to build. Which blocks do you think I should use? I'm very happy with the way this turned out, and I hope you are too. Let me know in the comments down below what you might have done differently. In the next video, we'll be taking on the basement of the Necromancer, and after that, we will be building a Asian-style house for the new trader that came with Chinese New Year. That's going to be a challenge in itself because I've never built in that style. I love this one though. I'll see you guys next time.